Welcome to Platform Media International. This is Joe Ezeadi, our political arena of Platform Media. Tonight, we're looking at the issues between the federal government and the agitation of a Biafra state. Is Nnamdi Kanu using this wrong strategy, asking for, is it an agitation or secession? Or is the federal government becoming too irritable to criticisms? Tonight, we'll be looking at that, and I have my guests in the studio who will be discussing this issue. We'll be back shortly. Welcome. Just like I told you at the beginning of the program, the federal government and the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is not having it in a very convivial atmosphere. Rather, it's the case of the federal government using their military might on the agitation of Biafra state. And tonight, I have in the studio with me on my right, Ezeadibe, based in Vancouver. Ezeadibe, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And on my left is Mr. Onukwulu, yes. Patrick Onukwulu. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Well, guys, we're looking at the soul of the agitation of Biafra state. Of course, we all know, it's all over the news, that the federal government, through the Operation Pattern Dance, came hard on the agitation and a lot of lives were lost. And of course, that is what is going on. In a democratic state, is that the right thing to do? Or Nnamdi Kanu step out of bounds? I start with you, Mr. Obi.
The federal government's action was wrong. You have to remember that there are agitations from all over Nigeria for separate existence. We have one by the Yorubas under Yolekom, asking for the Oduduwa Republic. We have one by the Niger Delta people asking for the Niger Delta Republic. We have one by Medu Belters who want their own country. And we have one by Arewa youths who asked people of Eastern Nigeria to vacate the north on or before October 1st. So there are agitations from all over Nigeria. So we cannot single out Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB as the only group agitating for separate existence from Nigeria.
Okay. And why we said that is because the issue is at the fore, because a lot of lives were lost in, perhaps in Umwa here, because some people were agitating, and it was, even Nnamdi Kanu was accused of having some military people, so training people to be a force to defend the Biafra state. I'm sure you heard that.
Oh, I did hear that. But, I have to put this in context. One, Nigeria is a country. It is not a banana republic. It is a member of the civilized world society. Its response to issues of that nature needs to follow internationally accepted standards. We've had a cry for secession in Spain. We have the courts in Iraq recently vote for a referendum. We've had one in Canada a couple of years ago. We've had referendums in different parts of the world. So the response of the Nigerian government should be similar to the things that happened in Spain, for instance, or in Iraq. A cry for secession is not a call for war.
Okay. Now, I'll come back to you, Mr. Obi. Mr. Onukwulu, Obi just mentioned something that Nigeria should follow an international standard. But a school of thought will have it that in Spain, people are asking for a Catalonian state. Last week, the state of the federal forces of Spain came out on the agitation of a Catalonian state. And most of the federal government agencies are drawing inferences from that, because Nnamdi Kanu was accused of having some forces who they are training as agent of Biafra state as a military force. So, is the federal government right to come hard on them?
Of course, first of all, I have to acknowledge some of the things Mr. Ezeadibe just said.
Okay.
Because I agree with them. First of all, yes, Nigeria should as the biggest economy in Africa and the biggest country, population-wise, we should be acting more like the rest of the world. And I do think and believe that the way they came down on the agitation and demonstrations in Abia State, I believe it was Omaya, was very wrong, in because that did not demonstrate that a democracy as we know it, and those of us that survived it, that actually lived it and survived it, don't want to see it again.
Okay, we will come to that.
Okay,
we'll come to that. We want to talk about the rightness or wrongness of the approach.
No, the approach is totally wrong as far as the federal government is concerned in Nigeria.
Mr. Obi, they said for every cause there's a reaction.
Yes.
I just asked, you just made an reference to Spain. Of course, it's all over the news that even in Spain, that's maybe regarded as the first world, came hard on the Catalonian agitation. And so some federal government forces are drawing inferences for what happened in Spain. That if Nnamdi Kanu is going through a parade of honor from people he's training, although they didn't display arms, he was in the United States asking for arms, begging people to give him money for arms. And the federal government is right, some people screw up to have it. The federal government is right to come hard on him before it grows so hard that it's not containable.
No. The federal government failed to learn from the lessons of history. I'm very familiar with Nigeria, so I can take you back.
Okay.
Sometime in 1999, Obasanjo invaded Udi, and then the Senate made a rule that you don't deploy armed forces without the consent of the Senate. And so it was wrong to have deployed the armed forces without the consent of the Senate. The president's primary objective in office is to secure lives and property. You do not go about killing unarmed civilians. That is not bravery. At some point in time, the Nigerian government would apologize for those acts. They will also pay compensations, if not now, sometime in the future. Obasanjo arrested Uwazurike, who was the first leader of Masob, without firing a single shot. He was just picked up. The federal government has at its disposal everything it needed to have curbed Nnamdi Kanu without sending in armored cars.
Okay, great. Now, the question I want to ask, the agitation by Nnamdi Kanu, it looks to be vague. One, is it secession or restructuring he's asking for?
Thank you very much for that question. He's asking for neither of the two. He's asking for a referendum. And the referendum is not equal to secession. We've had one in Canada. We had Quebec that wanted to be a separate country away from Canada. There was a referendum. The Canadian government campaigned. Quebecers who wanted separation campaigned. In the end, those who wanted to remain won the vote. It happened in Britain. And so a call for a referendum was an opportunity for the federal government to go in and campaign and ensure that they would win the yes votes to remain in Nigeria. And many Igbos do not support separation from Nigeria.
Okay. If the leader is asking for that, and you said he's asking for a referendum, but I've seen him in the news going for a parade. Biafra has their flag. Of course, that could be referendum could justify that. But where he was asking for arms, asking for money to buy arms, I don't think that's a kind of instrument for referendum. So that could be interpreted as asking for secession. What do you think?
It is not. He was being a juvenile. You do not get money to buy arms by asking people. And no intelligent person would make those inquiries in a public space. And the federal government needs to understand that people who are preparing to wage a war against it do not make that kind of noise in the public space. When men was preparing to attack oil installations, they armed themselves without displaying that publicly. So the federal government needs to know the amount of weight to attach to that allegation. It is worthless.
That takes us in that direction. You said the federal government should have recognized the person who is leading this issue. I take that to mean that you mean that Nnamdi Kanu wasn't kind of a serious-minded fellow, right?
No, I didn't mean that. What I tried to say is that anybody who stands up to lead Easterners towards Biafra will be accorded the kind of following and respect that Nnamdi Kanu is being given. There is a yearning in the heart and minds of our people for separation from Nigeria. It has been there before the wars in 1966. It will always be there until the end of time. We feel we are unwanted in Nigeria.
Can that be interpreted as asking for secession?
It is not asking for secession. It is asking to be treated as members, equal members.
So when do you draw the line between agitation and secession?
Well, because like Taisolarian would say, any discussion with Nigeria is like a discussion with a deaf person. It involves shouting, it involves pushing. The Nigerian government has not heard us since 1970.
Okay.
And it is not prepared to listen to us until we take an extreme measure.
So, Mr. Ezeadi, will it be right when you both say, if in Nigeria people try to make legitimate noise or illegitimate noise to be recognized, would it be correct if we try? So you have to make noise, agitate to be recognized, or for government to recognize. Is that the route that Nnamdi Kanu is taking?
Well, in a way, yes, that's what they're trying to do. Because again, Nigeria, just like most African countries, they don't listen to the people they're governing. You see, and if you say you're in a democracy, you have to listen to the people and try to serve the people that quote unquote elected you. But we know that in our case, it's a different situation. But Nnamdi Kanu is a young man, and according to, in a way, I support what Obi was saying. It's a little bit irresponsible. I will have to say it. I don't have anything to another way to put it. But the way he took on the mantle is okay. But then it's that personally, I think he's gotten into his head and he's doing things not right.
Okay. You see, there's this necessary question that will come out of this. Both of you by my side are intelligent people and from the Southeast. And the question I want to ask is that where did the Southeast get it so wrong that the mantle of leadership was thrust into the hand of a character of Nnamdi Kanu? If we are saying, I guess you understand by saying that anybody that is thrust forward to lead the Igbos will follow because there's this yearning or there's this dying revolt in them too. So anybody that comes up. But because I know about good leaders from Igbos, from the Igbo land, in the Igbo, as you call it, why would somebody like Nnamdi Kanu come to the fore to lead you?
Well, if you remain quiet in Nigeria, you get a little portion of the cake. And many of us want that cake. Nnamdi Kanu doesn't want it, so he should be commended for his bravery. You know, we should have had someone like him beginning from 1970. Mm-hmm. Maybe there would have been changes. You know, the Nigerian nation, had programmed to destroy Eastern Nigeria. They did that when they made the seaport at Port Harcourt not to function properly. 50% of the importation that comes to Nigeria are by Easterners. So by making that seaport not to function, they destroyed about 40% of the economy of the Southeast. The roads that form the life wire of our people between Enugu and Onitsha and between Enugu and Port Harcourt is the worst road in Nigeria. We do not have bridges. We do not have federal government established industries in the whole of the Southeast. The one we had been systematically destroyed. So where do we go?
Okay. The other question that will lead us to, because you say the there is this opinion that the Easterners or the Southeast had been neglected by previous government. We had in the the last regime led by Goodluck Ebele,
Yes.
Nnamdi Azikiwe, Jonathan.
Yes.
I'm sure you heard that name.
Yes, I did.
It's from the Southeast.
Yes.
And the argument is that your son was there. What happened? And somebody else is there. So what would you say to that?
Just one statement. Our sister, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was not just the Minister of Finance. She was the
kitchen cabinet of Jonathan.
Yeah, she was the coordinating minister of the entire economy.
Okay.
And an Hausa man named Sambo Dasuki went to the central bank, collected 2.1 billion US dollars, and shared it how he wanted. And so what I'm saying in effect is that Goodluck Jonathan was a president in name. The paraphernalia of power did not rest with him. The structure in Nigeria had been set up that unless you are from the north, you cannot be an effective president.
Somebody will tell me that is a very weak argument, Mr. Obi. Because if you have a government, if a president from Southeast, you had Minister of Finance from the Southeast,
yes.
You had other structures that was governed by the Southeasterners.
Yes.
And for about 6 years, and I guess that was the case. And there was no meaningful, even the Niger bridge that was promised, you're not going to fulfill. And now the power of government have shifted to the north, and the argument is that the Southerners are crying, are shouting to the high heavens. So the necessary statement would say, your son was there, what happened? And you are saying the structures are not there. So I tend to say that was a weak argument.
It is not.
No, I have to jump in there,
yes,
Joe.
Yes.
That is not a weak argument.
Okay.
Because
the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
And we know how things are run in that country. Like he was literally a figurehead.
Okay. Now the argument will be, what do you want?
What do we want?
Yes. What will the Southerners want? What would they like to get before this issue that is at stake will be resolved?
The Southerners,
I can help.
Okay.
Let me just give you one step so you can continue. But the Southerners, people of Southern Nigeria, need to be respected. They need to be given full accord.
Can you have that on a platter of gold?
No.
So what do you
do? There is discussions. That's platforms that could be used to negotiate.
You just heard my argument. Somebody will say, this thing was on top of your table on your laps. What did you do with it, Mr. B?
Well, Jonathan called a national conference. Decisions were made. He probably had no time to implement the decision.
6 years.
No. The national conference was in 2014. There was elections in 2015. There was decision made by ethnic nationalities from all over Nigeria on how to move forward.
Okay.
Now, the North says that they are not comfortable with that decision. We need to go back to the drawing board. All ethnic nationalities needs to come together and create a constitution that will guide us as a people.
The Northerners, people from the northern part of Nigeria, looking at our argument, will say, look at them. They're just talking. You had the president, you had the minister of finance. What do you want? And we have a president too right now, and you're accusing him of being very strong. Why can't people from the south be strong, have that willpower? You had the GOCs, you had the military, people who have ruled the military from the south. They can't do anything.
There is no strong constitution in the country.
What do you want to be inserted into the constitution to guarantee that privilege or right? Silence.
Sorry, there is no constitution. The Nigerian constitution was not set up by the proper team. You know, it's a constitution that...
So I take you to 1966 school.
Yes.
After the Balewa and Co were killed, General Rossi was the head of state.
Yes.
And the accusation by the northern elements was that the southeastern officers, that was a coup of the southeastern officers, and they installed an southeastern head of state in General Rossi, and there was a counter coup. So if the Northerners can do it, why can't we have leaders from the South who can bear the heart? Are we cowards?
We are not cowards. The British aided the North significantly.
That was 1914.
Even up till today, every military establishment in Nigeria is sited in the North. Where the arms are, where the military hardware are in the North. Obasanjo tried to redistribute military hardware, and we had an explosion in Ikeja because that attempt was sabotaged. And so people in the South can only do parades and riots, and they do not have the military hardware to stand up to the North. Even the crushing of Nnamdi Kanu was done using armored cars that were transported from northern Nigeria to the southeast. Don't we have a division of the Nigerian army in the southeast?
We have it in Enugu.
Why can they not put equipments in those divisions? Because of the fear of what you are talking about. As a matter of fact, most of the armored cars are not with the army in the north. They stay in private residences of people so that when they want to act, you wouldn't know where the armored cars are coming from.
So where do we go from here?
Where we go from here is that if everybody wants us to have a great nation, we need to come together.
So what did they say?
Talk.
If they say we can talk, what do you do?
Well, if Biafrans had agitated for secession in 2017, it will continue until it is realized, unless the inequalities are addressed.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I want to appreciate you coming, Mr. Obi. I also appreciate you, Mr. Ezeadi, Mr. Onukwulu. You know, the issue remains that it's like the argument of the egg and the hen, which one comes first, secession, and what is also talk about what is the issue at stake and whether the federal government was right to come hard on the agitation. And the opinion here is that it's wrong, but what is the Southern people asking for? Where do we have the willpower to carry out the agitation? And that remains a debate. I want to thank my guests, Ezeadibe, for coming and Onukwulu for coming. The debate continues. You'll be brought back to the studio to continue with this debate, at least to set the agenda for our viewers. And with that, viewers, I want to thank my guests, and I continue to say, meet us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ezeadibe, with this powerful panel on the political arena. Have a good night.
Thank you.